let me guess. If you're a parent trying to talk to your teens about tech and screens and social, you feel like when you're doing so, you're speaking a completely foreign language. If that's you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And let me guess, if you're a teenager having a parent try to relate to you in that tech space and it feels totally cringe, go ahead and give me a like on this video. And if you're a youth pastor just simply trying to bring the two sides together, well, then you're in the right spot. Go ahead and turn the bell on, because here in this video on the Hybrid Ministry Show, what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you my parent and tech philosophy. I'm also going to share with you 5 great questions that you can use to start with a family to open up good discussion around technology. If you're a parent, I'm going to share with you my top 3 monitoring resources. And finally, stick around to the very end of the video, because I'm going to share with you a worksheet that has not only those 5 good questions shared in this video, but some bonus questions that you can hop over and that you can download. My patrons get it for free. If you're a youth pastor, it's only $4 per month. You'll get all the worksheets that are included in this current playlist that's linked right here that we're in. We're now in part 3 of 4 of this parent, tech, and screens worksheet and playlist, where I'm sharing a worksheet in every single video. The Patreon subscription is only $4 per month, and so that would cover all of these worksheets and then some. Along with, if you subscribe, you get a bonus podcast where I'm going to talk about what I'm doing weekly in my youth ministry, helping promote creativity, screen safety, and hybrid ministry. Welcome, my friends, to the show that's named after what I call it. Welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. All right, so here's my philosophy around technology and screens, okay? The philosophy is very simply this. You just have to start having conversations around it, especially if you are concerned about your teens' usage, or you might be concerned down the road about it. Start the conversation earlier than you might want. Because here's the thing, if you've downloaded either of my last 2 worksheets, right, the digital detox worksheet or the feed audit worksheet, what you've got to come to understand is that both of those are set to help open up and promote a conversation between parents and between teenagers. But if you're concerned about it, the way we as parents often handle it is we have some big explosive sort of like come to Jesus reckoning moment where we think we did the job. But the change often best happens and the transformation takes place most naturally through ongoing conversations, where the conversations feel less threatening, which is one of the reasons, especially in the last worksheet, where I encourage you as a parent to offer immunity. Because you may, as you're auditing your son or daughter's feed, you may find things that you don't want. But because you're saying, hey, listen, it's going to be okay, we're going to work through this together, you're offering them the ability to actually open up and have that conversation, which is ultimately what you're hoping. You're hoping that the conversation will lead to heart and life change and transformation over time, as opposed to just like adjusting and changing the behavior. That's just simply behavior modification. That's white knuckling it, as opposed to genuine, true heart change. That's the goal of all pastors, should be of all churches, and it's definitely the goal of Jesus. And so lead with grace and understanding versus annoyance and constant frustration. And when you start with that, it hopefully will start to crack open the door towards honest conversations. And so with that philosophy as the foundation, as the backdrop of all of this, let's walk in to these 5 questions. And if you're here in a workshop, I want to encourage you after each question to just pause it and stop and let parents and teens have these conversations in rows or round tables or whatever your setting looks like. So the first question is this: how does technology make our life better? I want to encourage you to think about things like perhaps Life 360, right? Like GPS type tracking things, or even just GPS navigation in general, being able to get from point A to point B, especially if you're in an unfamiliar place. Maybe things like banking or keeping a shared calendar or grocery list. Like, all right, think those types of things. In what ways do those things make technology better? If you're watching here in a workshop, go ahead, pause this video, and I'll let you have a chance to discuss. But for the rest of us here on YouTube, I want you to now think and ask through this second question, which goes like this: how well do you think and if you're a parent, I want to encourage you to ask this question being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to put yourself out there in such a way. How well do you feel like I balance my screen time? All right, and again, this is going to cause you and have to ask you to be a little bit vulnerable, and maybe even during this section here when you're having this discussion with your teen, I want to encourage you to maybe look up your current screen time reports. And if you're not happy with, or you're unsatisfied with what that says, I want to encourage you then to maybe set a goal for something new. So if you're watching this live, if you're having a discussion, go ahead, pause the video now. But for the rest of us, we're going to move on here to question number 3, which is this: what is your most visited website or app, and why? Right? And here's why. The and why part of this question helps you get a peek into their soul a little bit. All right, helps reveal their hobbies or their desires. Right? Like for me, what I would say one of the most visited things for me is like Instagram. And the reason I like Instagram is because I have a heavy basketball algorithm, and I'm a huge basketball fan. And so getting on there, I'm hoping that it will share with me, illuminate with me, give me interesting content around basketball. And in doing that, the and why part of that question, right, reveals to you that I enjoy watching basketball. And so the and why part of that question hopefully will help reveal on both sides, student and parent, what it is that they're into, what it is that they're actually looking for, what it is that their phone is feeding them that they are finding so interesting. So go ahead, pause the video, and take a minute to discuss that. But for the rest of us, we're going to move on here to question number 4, which is: do you feel as though technology brings our family together or tears us apart? And again, I want to consider allowing this conversation to be a free-flowing conversation. Let it have immunity. You don't get defensive, regardless of what the answer is. Don't get defensive. Hear the other person's side. Right? I often use the phrase perception is reality. And so in this case, allow their perception to be the reality. Don't argue it. Don't fight it, but just let them say and speak their piece. So go ahead, take a minute, have this discussion. For the rest of us, we're going to move on here to question number 5, which is this: would you prefer more or less phone time? Personally, would you prefer to have more, or would you prefer to have less phone time? Again, speak freely. Again, no judgment, okay? But based on their answers, I want you to set a family goal to work on it together, especially if you are saying you want to have less of it. Then I want to encourage you to link down below my DETOX worksheet, which will give you 5 tips to work together better as a family to detox the amount of times that you're spending on screen. But I want to say right now, linked down below are the 3 tools. It's linked to a video, the 3 tools that I recommend you exploring for better screen usage and perhaps even more restrictions on phones if that is something that you're looking to go towards. And so in that video, I debate between Aura plus Circle. I debate between the Bark family of products, Bark phones and Bark monitoring. And then I also share with you my recommended resource called Covenant Eyes. And why I prefer to use Covenant Eyes is because it has constant screen monitoring. It is analyzing screenshots on a constant basis of every single thing that is being viewed on your screen, right? Because the difference is if it's just URL based, you can sort of find workarounds to that. Look at your teenager right now. If you're still in this workshop, they know that they can find workarounds to that. But if they want and you want to have a more holistic and a more robust monitoring system, Covenant Eyes will do that. And best yet, if you have an Android, it will do it on every single thing that is seen and is visible on your screen at any given time. Where in Apple, it's only showing you what you're using inside the Covenant Eyes browser. That's simply just to their technology and their API type settings. And so if your son or daughter does have an iPhone, as much as the social capital will go down because you have to get them away from the blue bubbles, and Android is better for their long-term purity and for your perhaps peace of mind. And so again, I want to thank you for watching this video. Listen, if you're a youth pastor, I want to encourage you to hop down the link down in the show notes and grab this this parent tech talks and this parent and teen tech talks worksheet and pass it out at maybe a parent and tech workshop. Even go back and use this video to use it as a springboard for conversations, where in this worksheet, it's going to allow both sides to kind of share their perspectives on technology usage, as well as offer a slew of other bonus questions, but linked right here in the fourth and final installment of this playlist is a video I'm titling From Screen to Scene, and we're going to talk about how to be more present in an always digital world. Thank you for sticking around for this entire video, and don't forget, my friends, as always, to stay hybrid.